What comes to mind when you think of Camila Cabello? Well, for many, it's her many hit songs, such as Havana or Shameless. Just a few years ago, Camila Cabello was ruling the charts. It's like she couldn't miss. Every song she released was a massive hit, leading to hundreds of millions of streams on hundreds of millions of views on YouTube, and overall, her career just seemed like it couldn't get any better. But recently, she has faced more hate than ever, and her recent album has flopped completely. Her usual songs from the past have averaged millions of uses as audios on TikTok, but her recent album, most of the songs can't average over 200 streams. So what led to this massive downfall? Well, it could be many of the dramas she's been in, and overall her poor album performance, but what was the root cause of this all? Well, today we'll be discussing the downfall of Camila Cabello and how one song would completely destroy her reputation and career. But before we do that, I want to quick remind you that my animation channel has been created. I'm going to release a huge project soon this summer, so if you don't want to miss it, feel free to subscribe. The username is in the description. Just enter the username and you'll easily be able to subscribe. It means the world. And my Discord server is also available. Now, let's get into it. So, a few years ago, when I was like a kid, I don't know why, but like when you think stupid things as a kid, like you see the world a certain way when you're a kid, and you just you don't really know how to explain it. It's hard to explain, but you see it a really delusional way. And I don't know why, I used to think that pop stars, like Billie Eilish, Camila Cabello, no matter what they released, their fans would listen to it, and they couldn't flop. I don't know why, but that's just the way I saw the world. And growing up, I've realized that isn't true at all. Camila Cabello is a prime example. Literally a few years ago, she was on top of the world. She started off on the Fifth Harmony group, about a group of 5, and one thing they're known for is not having chemistry. They seem to hate each other. From different clips, there are many different clips on YouTube that have millions of views of Camila Cabello singing with the rest, but instead of harmonizing, she does a little extra, she sings a little bit higher than them. That one girl in class that thinks they're a way better singer than everyone. I don't know how exactly to explain it, but she seems to have this, superiority complex compared to everyone else. And I don't know her personally. I honestly don't know much about Fifth Harmony, but the clips are pretty cringy if you watch them. And she has gotten into a lot of controversies surrounding this group that she used to be a part of. It's safe to say she probably doesn't talk to a lot of them anymore. For example, Normie, who was on the band with her, they had a little bit of beef a few years ago. Camila Cabello was talking to a friend and the text got leaked. Camila Cabello called Normie a few racial slurs, and overall, a lot of stuff surrounding Camila Cabello paints her in a very racist way has been leaked. I mean, it's not super new news. It's been around for about a year now, but she's tweeted some racist things, used some racial slurs that I will not be repeating, and overall, she has had a bad past. I mean, of course you can say, oh, well, people change, so it's really up to the viewer at the end of the day, whether you think that she's changed or if these racial terms are still really in her thoughts and mind, and she doesn't really feel bad today. It's safe to say that these leaking of text messages and overall resurfacing tweets of hers would do some serious damage to her reputation and overall decrease her fan base by a lot. But the real nail in the coffin would be her album, which came out last year. But leading up to that, she had many, many successful hits. She had dated Shawn Mendes, and then she decided to do something that would definitely not help her reputation, get into beef with Sabrina Carpenter. And if you watch my videos, you'll know that I've discussed celebrity beef before, and I think a large majority of the time it's staged, it's a publicity stunt. It's a way to get more attention towards these people and their albums or music. I gave the example of Ice Spice before, and I discussed how Ice Spice has staged a controversy with another girl purposely to get views on her music video, and it worked. She got lots of streams. It gave her tons of attention. So this entire drama could be on purpose. Camila Cabello may actually just be reacting like this in effort to get her more streams on her album. Considering how bad her album's been doing, yes, this beef could be a desperate attempt to get streams, but overall, if it was a PR stunt, I think it was a pretty bad decision. And like I discussed before with Ice Spice, if you paint yourself as the villain on purpose to get attention to your streams, like pretending to steal someone's man like Ice Spice did with Central C, and she got hundreds of hate comments, but also lots of streams and views on her music video, yes, you get attention short term, but long term, it's going to harm your reputation. So if you don't know how to handle it correctly, and if it's a really serious thing that gets people really mad at you, it can long term not be worth it, even if it was on purpose. So let's just say for a second that she's doing this on purpose. Well, she's been seen at concerts saying certain things that indicate she's mad at Sabrina Carpenter and just been rude towards Sabrina Carpenter overall. And let me tell you why this is a bad idea. One, Sabrina Carpenter is so loved right now. Like, out of any time to get in beef with Sabrina Carpenter, this is probably the worst possible time. She just released a super successful album. She's had the best year of her life. Getting in a beef with someone while they are this popular and have this many fans is dangerous. And the motive, you may be wondering, why is Camila Cabello so mad at Sabrina? It's something to do with their boyfriends. It's really long and dumb, but let's just say it's something to do with their boyfriends. It's a petty little drama, and I'm not sure if Sabrina's reacted. I'm pretty sure she hasn't, but Camila Cabello is using this drama possibly to get more views on her album. But unlike Ice Spice, it doesn't seem to be working because her album has been doing horribly and really hasn't been getting any streams or uses on TikTok.
Cabello just threw shade at Sabrina Carpenter in the most bizarre way possible at the iHeartRadio Music Festival, and people online are completely roasting Camila for this.
So you can see, while the beef did get a ton of attention, it brought a ton of hate towards Camila Cabello and overall just really harmed her reputation, because it seemed like she was the one throwing all the shots and didn't have much reason at all to be throwing these shots. It just seemed like a bully in the end. So people turned on her, and she became hated all of a sudden. She went from kind of a, I like her, or I don't really have a problem with her, to she's a brat and I hate her. People began to seriously hate her and insult her on Twitter, TikTok, many different platforms. It became a serious issue for Camila. And then she released her album. You know how I mentioned one song would destroy her reputation and career? Well, pick any song from this album, because this album got terrible reviews. Do I think she put effort into it? I mean, I think so. I didn't really listen to much of it. I haven't heard much because it's been such a flop. I mean, I can't name one song from it because none of it's been playing on the radio or been recommended to me on Spotify or anything. Even YouTube hasn't recommended her music videos to me. The album was a massive flop and a huge embarrassment for such a massive artist. Like Camila or not, this album was a complete failure. It became hated and a easy target for Sabrina fans to attack Camila for. I couldn't find it, but I even came across a TikTok randomly when I was scrolling through TikTok, and it was like a girl discussing how Camila's album flopped so badly that one of the songs only had 10 uses on TikTok. Like, the audio only had 10 uses. And I just thought that's rough, because she's a massive artist. She's huge. Like, she is so famous. Who doesn't know who Camila Cabello is? This is so embarrassing. And why did it flop? Well, the album itself wasn't good. There was nothing in there. It was all like hyper pop. It seemed low effort, though. I mean, I can't say for sure. Sometimes stuff seems low effort and it isn't. And it got horrible reviews. All of the main music reviewers, such as Fantano and the main music reviews on different newspapers, all criticized it heavily for being bland, seeming artificial, and overall just being bad. I'm not here to argue, Camila's the worst person to ever exist, or to say, hey guys, Camila, she's amazing, she's not a flop, but there's no arguing that her album was a failure, and overall, she's gone down in popularity a lot, and possibly even become irrelevant. She doesn't play much on the radio anymore unless it's one of her old hits, such as Havana, that happened a few years ago. Soon, it's clear that she will face serious irrelevancy if she doesn't get a hit fast. I mean, look at the cover of the album. I mean, why would you pick that for your... I don't even mean to be mean, but like, if I was releasing an album and it was like my 5th album or whatever, you licking a lollipop is the most unserious thing ever. Like, you could have had... And it's just... there's like... The music itself is boring and it seems like garbage, honestly, and it does seem, like, now that I think about it, it does seem pretty low effort. And I saw a lot of Twitter posts that were quick to attack her. They were comparing her to Sabrina and Chaperone and laughing about how she was such a failure, which is a little mean, I suppose, but that's Twitter. I mean, what's new on Twitter? And that's what happens when you insult big fan bases or growing fan bases. You insult an artist like Sabrina, who is literally having the best time she's ever had and had the most hits she's ever had before. I mean, what do you expect? And your album's flopping? Like, it's a little embarrassing. Like, when you get in a beef with someone, you better be releasing some hits, and you better be selling well, because if you flop that badly when you are in the middle of a big beef, yeah, that's a little embarrassing. So yes, part of the reason for her downfall is Camila's fault. Her racist comments in the past it's completely understandable that would turn some people away from listening to her music or not want to support her. And her rudeness towards Sabrina makes it seem like she hasn't really changed much over the years of thinking she's better than everyone, with, let's just say, the drama she's gotten into just shows that seems kind of mean. And finally, the album, which seems low effort and just seems like it's a cash grab from the different songs that are just filled with auto-tune when she actually has a decent voice and just aren't good. You can listen to them. I listen to a few. They aren't good. They don't deserve audio streams. It just seems like she kind of is mostly the cause for her downfall. Of course, though, there are some factors that weren't really in her control in the first place. Firstly, her lack of a strong fan base. I mentioned this briefly before, but I have seen so many times with different singers over the years that if they don't develop a very strong fan base, it's a lot more likely that they will fall off. Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj are all not in their 20s anymore and still have found a lot of success over the years because they have such a strong fan base supporting them. You can think of a lot of people that don't have a strong fan base that have released tons of hits and gotten billions of streams that are flopping now. Take the example of BB Rexha. She has had so many hits. She has so many good songs. I have to admit, I love her music, but she's struggling right now. There are many different videos about her album sales being rough. Overall, her concerts being completely empty. She has to lower ticket prices. You can't really control your fan base or how to grow it, but people that have strong fan bases have a lot bigger chance. And Camila Cabello completely lacks a fan base. I mean, what's the name of her fan base? Is there a name? And her lack of a strong fan base is more evident today than ever. There are multiple videos of her on TikTok performing to a very, very small crowd.
The other day I saw this tweet of Camila Cabello's show going viral, and I thought that was so mean. So then I tweeted this.
So, some people did find it brave that she still performed in front of such a small crowd, which I'll give that credit to her. I'll give credit where credit is due. That is a brave thing to do because it is embarrassing. It would be easy to fake something like, I'm sick, and just leave, not perform, like a lot of people have done in the past. So I admit that is brave, but in itself, it's clear she doesn't have a strong fan base. And don't start arguing in the comments because I could see it either way. There are many, many reasons to not like her, and there's a few too, so we're not really going to discuss that. At the end of the day, though, one thing should not be argued against, and that's that she is nowhere where she used to be. It's evident when you look at her Spotify listeners. I mean, they'll never be at the number that they once were. Her most recent album could be the final nail in the coffin for her, just because of how much it flopped. But, maybe she'll surprise us. And the moral of the story is, don't hate on Sabrina Carpenter. Please.